But this story doesn't start at Easter brunch. It starts 7 years ago when I learned that some families don't celebrate your success. They resent it. My name is Maya and I'm the oldest of 2 daughters. Growing up in our Minneapolis suburb, I was the responsible one. The one who got straight A's without being asked. The one who worked 3 jobs through college to graduate debt-free. The one who ate ramen for 2 years so I could save enough to start my career without asking my parents for a dime. My sister Sienna was different. She was the sparkle, the charm, the one who could walk into a room and make everyone smile. She was homecoming queen, prom princess, the girl everyone wanted to be friends with. And our parents worshipped her for it. When Sienna barely graduated high school, Mom threw her a party with a live band. When I graduated summa cum laude from the University of Minnesota, they took me to Applebee's and spent the dinner talking about Sienna's new boyfriend. When Sienna dropped out of community college after 1 semester, Dad said, "College isn't for everyone, honey." When I got accepted to a competitive MBA program, Mom said, "That's nice, but don't you think you're already educated enough?" I stopped expecting them to celebrate me. I learned to carry my victories quietly, like secrets I kept even from myself. After graduate school, I landed a position as a senior marketing director at a Fortune 500 healthcare company. The salary was substantial, $240,000 a year plus bonuses. I worked 80-hour weeks, traveled constantly, and built campaigns that generated millions in revenue. I was good at my job. Exceptional, actually. And I bought myself the one thing I'd dreamed about since I was 16 years old. A Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe in selenite gray metallic. Fully loaded. Custom interior. The kind of car that makes you stop and stare when it drives past. It cost $180,000. I paid cash. I didn't tell my parents the price. When they saw it for the first time, parked in their driveway during a family dinner, Dad whistled low and said, "Must be nice to waste money like that." Mom pursed her lips and said, "Seems impractical. What if you have children someday? Where would the car seats go?" I swallowed the response building in my throat and changed the subject. Meanwhile, Sienna bounced from job to job. Retail associate. Personal trainer. Social media influencer, which meant she posted photos of brunch and called it work. She lived in a studio apartment that Mom and Dad paid for. She drove a 10-year-old Honda Civic that broke down every other month, and every time, Dad would slip her money for repairs while shaking his head about bad luck. What they didn't know was that I'd been helping Sienna too. When her credit cards maxed out, I paid them off, $8,000. When she needed dental work and didn't have insurance, I covered it, $4,500. When she got evicted for missing rent and needed first and last month's deposit for a new place, I transferred $3,800. Over 4 years, I'd quietly given her $52,000. She never said thank you. She never even acknowledged it. And I never told our parents because that's what I thought you did for family. You help silently. You don't keep score. You just love them anyway. 3 months ago, Sienna's car finally died completely. The transmission gave out and the mechanic said it would cost more to fix than the car was worth. She called me crying, asking if she could borrow my Mercedes, just for a few days, while she figured out what to do. I said no. Not because I didn't want to help, but because Sienna had wrecked 2 borrowed cars in the past 3 years. One belonging to a friend, another to a cousin. Both times she'd claimed the accidents weren't her fault, and never paid for the damages. I'd watched her treat other people's property carelessly, and I wasn't willing to risk my car. She didn't take it well. "You're so selfish," she'd screamed over the phone. "You have this expensive car you barely drive and you won't even help your own sister? What kind of person are you?" I tried to explain. I offered to help her find a reliable used car, even said I'd contribute to the down payment. But she hung up on me. 2 days later, Mom called. "Maya, your sister is struggling. The least you could do is loan her your car for a few weeks. You have your company car for work trips anyway." "Mom," I said no. "She's not a safe driver. She's your sister. Family helps family. I've helped her plenty. Then help her again." I ended the call feeling that familiar weight in my chest, the one that settled there every time I failed to be the daughter they wanted me to be. Last week, Mom called to invite me to Easter brunch. "The whole family will be there," she said warmly. "It would mean so much if you came. We hardly see you anymore." The guilt worked. I said yes. Easter Sunday arrived with clear skies and unseasonably warm weather. I drove my Mercedes to my parents' house in Edina, where the brunch was being held in their backyard. White tents, string lights, tables covered in pastel linens. 51 people milled around, aunts, uncles, cousins, family, friends, neighbors. My mother had gone all out. I parked on the street and walked through the side gate. Mom spotted me immediately and waved, her smile bright. Too bright. Maya, you made it. Come, everyone's asking about you. I should have known something was wrong. My mother never gushed over me like that. But I ignored the instinct and followed her to the main table where Dad stood with Sienna. My sister looked stunning in a lavender dress, her hair in perfect waves. She smiled at me and it didn't reach her eyes. Maya, darling, Mom said loud enough for nearby tables to hear, Sienna has some wonderful news. She got a job. A real career job at a marketing agency downtown. Congratulations, I said carefully. It's entry level, Sienna said quickly, but they said there's room for growth. The only problem is, she paused, her eyes welling with tears. I don't have reliable transportation. The bus would take 2 hours each way and I can't afford a car right now. I saw where this was going. Every muscle in my body tensed. Mom reached into her pocket and pulled out something that made my heart stop. My car keys. The distinctive Mercedes key fob with the silver star. What are you doing with those? My voice came out sharp. You left them on the entry table when you arrived, Mom said smoothly. And after talking with your father, we've decided, as a family, that the best solution is for you to give Sienna your car. The words hit like a physical blow. Give her my car? Let her borrow it, Dad corrected, but his eyes told a different story. Until she can afford her own. Which could be months, I said. Or years. And you're deciding this for me? Without asking. We're not deciding for you, Mom said, her voice taking on that sweet, condescending tone. We're asking you to be a good sister. To help family. 51 pairs of eyes turned toward us. The conversations around us quieted. I could feel the weight of their attention, the judgment already forming. Look at the successful daughter who won't even help her struggling sister. No, I said firmly. Those are my keys. Give them back. Mom's expression hardened. She held the keys up, dangling them just out of reach, and turned to Sienna. Honey, you need these more than Maya does. She barely drives this car anyway. Mom, I'm not joking. Give me my keys. Sienna reached for them. Mom dropped the keys into her palm. My sister closed her fingers around them and smiled. A real smile this time, triumphant and cold. Thank you, Maya, she said. This means everything. I didn't give you permission. My hands were shaking. Those are mine. Dad stepped forward, his face reddening. Lower your voice. You're making a scene. I'm making a scene? You stole my keys and gave away my car. We didn't steal anything, he snapped. We're family. What's yours is ours. That's how it works. No, I said, my voice rising. That's not how it works. That car is in my name. I paid for it. You have no right. You have no right to be this selfish. Mom's voice cracked across the yard. Several heads turned. Your sister is trying to build a life and you're standing here worried about a car. A car, Maya. Do you hear yourself? My Aunt Sharon approached, concern etched on her face. What's going on? Maya won't let Sienna borrow her car, Mom said, tears forming in her eyes. Even though she knows Sienna desperately needs it. It's not borrowing if I didn't agree to it, I said. It's just a car, my cousin Jeff called out. Family's more important than things. Heads nodded. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. I felt the walls closing in, the same suffocating pressure I'd felt my entire life. Agree. Submit. Make yourself smaller so everyone else feels comfortable. Sienna, I said, forcing my voice steady, give me my keys. She clutched them tighter. Mom said I could have them. Mom doesn't own the car. I do. You're being ridiculous, Dad said. He stepped closer, his voice low and threatening. You're going to embarrass this family over a car? After everything we've done for you? Everything you've done for me? The words tasted like acid. What exactly have you done for me? His hand shot out and grabbed my shoulder hard. We raised you. We fed you. We put a roof over your head. And this is the thanks we get. Let go of me. You're going to shut your mouth and let your sister take the car. His grip tightened. Do you understand me? I tried to pull away. His other hand came up and shoved me hard against the side of the house. My head cracked against the siding. Pain exploded through my skull. Gasps erupted from the crowd. Someone shouted, "Robert!" But Dad didn't move. He kept me pinned there, his face inches from mine. You don't get to disrespect your mother in front of everyone. You don't get to act like you're better than us. My vision blurred. My phone was in my pocket. I pulled it out with trembling hands. What are you doing? Dad demanded. I dialed the number I had saved under Mercedes Minneapolis. It rang twice. Mercedes-Benz of Minneapolis. This is Derek. How can I help you? Derek, this is Maya Richardson. I need you to come to 4782 Oakwood Drive in Edina immediately. Someone is attempting to steal my vehicle. Dad's eyes widened. He released me and stepped back. Miss Richardson? Derek's voice sharpened. Is this an emergency? Should I call the police? Yes, I said clearly, loudly enough for everyone to hear. Please call the police and come here with my ownership records. My family has taken my keys without permission and is attempting to give my car to someone else. We're on our way. Stay on the line. I put the phone on speaker. The yard had gone completely silent. Every single person stared at me. Mom's face had gone white. Maya, what did you just do? I called the dealership. And the police. You called the police on your own family? Her voice was shrill, disbelieving. You assaulted me and stole my property. What did you expect? Sienna held up the keys, her hands shaking. This is insane. It's just a car. Then give me back my keys. He looked at Mom. Mom looked at Dad. No one moved. 28 minutes later, I counted every one. 2 squad cars pulled up in front of the house. Derek from the dealership arrived 30 seconds behind them in a company vehicle. The police officers walked through the side gate. One was a woman in her 40s with sharp eyes. The other was a younger man with a crew cut. We received a call about a theft in progress, the female officer said. There's no theft, Dad said quickly, his voice smooth now, controlled. This is a family misunderstanding. Are you Maya Richardson? The officer asked me. I am. Can you explain what happened? I did. I told them about the keys being taken from the entry table without my permission. About my mother giving them to my sister. About my father physically restraining me when I demanded them back. The officer turned to Dad. Sir, did you put your hands on her? She was being disrespectful. That's not what I asked. Did you put your hands on her? His jaw worked. I may have grabbed her arm. He shoved me against the wall, I said. I turned around and pulled my hair aside. You can probably see the mark. The younger officer stepped forward and looked. His expression hardened. Ma'am, there's visible redness and swelling. Derek approached carrying a leather folder. Officers, I'm Derek Martinez, the general manager at Mercedes-Benz of Minneapolis. Miss Richardson purchased her vehicle from us 18 months ago. He opened the folder and pulled out documents. Here's the registration showing her as the sole owner. Here's the purchase agreement. And here's the GPS tracking report showing the vehicle is currently parked on this street, registered to her VIN number. He looked at my mother. Ma'am, do you have any ownership claim to this vehicle? Mom's mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. What about you? He turned to Sienna. Are you listed on the title? No, but... Then you have no legal right to possess the keys. He held out his hand. I'm going to need those returned to Miss Richardson immediately. Sienna looked at Mom. Mom looked at Dad. The police officers waited. Finally, Sienna's hand opened. The keys dropped into Derek's palm. He handed them to me. Miss Richardson, the female officer said, do you want to press charges for assault and attempted theft? I looked at my father. His face was gray, shocked. At my mother, whose perfect Easter brunch had crumbled around her. At Sienna, whose tears were real now, humiliated in front of everyone. 51 family members watched in complete silence. No, I said quietly. I just want to leave. The officer nodded. That's your right. But I'm going to file a report anyway, and I recommend you get that head injury looked at. You might have a concussion. I will. Derek walked with me to my car. The crowd parted as we passed, no one meeting my eyes. He opened my door for me, checked that everything was intact. Miss Richardson, he said quietly, I've worked in luxury automotive sales for 20 years. And I've seen this exact scenario play out a dozen times. Family members who think expensive possessions should be shared. He paused. They never think about the person who earned them. Thank you for coming. That's what we do for our clients. Drive safe. And please call me if you need anything. I sat in my car, hands shaking so hard I could barely grip the steering wheel. In my rearview mirror, I could see my family standing in the yard, the police cars still parked out front, the ruined Easter brunch scattered across tables no one was eating at anymore. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom, how could you embarrass us like that? I deleted it. Another from Sienna, I hope you're happy. You ruined everything. I blocked her number. I drove home to my downtown Minneapolis apartment, parked in my private garage, and sat in silence for 20 minutes. The car still smelled new. The leather seats still felt perfect. My core. My achievement. My boundary. That night I went to urgent care. Minor concussion. The doctor took photos of the contusion on my head and gave me a report for my records. Just in case you need it later, she said meaningfully. 3 days later my father called. I let it go to voicemail. He said I owed them an apology for causing a scene and making them look bad in front of everyone. He said Sienna was devastated and that I'd damaged her confidence right when she was trying to build a career. I saved the voicemail. Didn't respond. A week later, an email from my mother. Long, rambling, full of phrases like, we only wanted to help, and you've changed, and money has made you cold. At the bottom, a single line, your grandmother would be ashamed of you. I archived it without responding. 2 weeks later, Sienna posted on social media about toxic family members who value possessions over people. The post got 300 likes. People I'd never met commented about how materialistic some people were, how sad it was when success changed people. I didn't engage. I didn't defend myself. I just kept living my life. Here's what I learned that Easter Sunday. Some people will never see you as more than a resource to be used. They'll frame your boundaries as selfishness. They'll weaponize family obligation to take what you earned. And when you finally say no, they'll make you the villain in a story they've been writing about you your whole life. But saying no isn't cruel. Protecting what you built isn't selfish. And walking away from people who only value what you can give them isn't betrayal. It's survival. I still drive my Mercedes. Every time I slide into the driver's seat, I remember that I earned this. I worked for this. And I don't owe anyone access to my life, my possessions, or my peace just because we share DNA. If you've ever had your family demand your belongings, your money, or your sacrifice as proof of love, tell me in the comments. Where are you listening from? What boundary did you finally have to draw? Because the truth is this. Real family doesn't demand you shrink so they can shine. Real family doesn't steal from you and call it sharing. Real family doesn't assault you for saying no. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is drive away from people who will never let you be whole. The dealership ownership records didn't just stop my mother that day. They stopped a lifetime pattern of taking. And for the first time in 32 years I chose myself. That's not selfish. That's freedom.